Luke Combs, David Tepper. Oh, who doesn't love a roasting session coming from a singer? Particularly when David Tepper shouts concerts when he is getting roasted for his horrible management of the Carolina Panthers, better known as Dumpster Days. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Luke Combs putting David Tepper on blast for ruining the Panthers. Those comments came in from Twitter on Monday after the Panthers failed to get one first-round pick in a trade for Brian Burns. Luke Combs then got invited onto the Pat McAfee Show and continued to trash David Tepper for his mismanagement of the Panthers in recent seasons. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So here it is. Do you agree with Luke Combs' comments on David Tepper? Heck yeah, is that even a real question? Of course I agree with what Luke Combs had to say about David Tepper and the Carolina Panthers. David Tepper has sucked the joy and excitement out of the Carolina Panthers. I remember when Bank of America used to be able to sell out games all the time. Nowadays, we struggle to even fill up half of our stadium with our fans. Every time that we do end up filling the stadium, it ends up getting raided by opposing fans. Obviously, you look at how David Tepper has been a horrible owner for the Carolina Panthers in terms of as a businessman and as a football owner as well. You look at how David Tepper has owned the Carolina Panthers for 6 years. Obviously, the Carolina Panthers have had losing seasons in the last 6 years, something that we never did during the Jerry Richardson era. During the Jerry Richardson era, we never lost this much for this long, but ever since David Tepper has come onto the Carolina Panthers, he has done nothing but lose all the time. We might as well rename him David the Loser Tepper because of the fact that David Tepper does nothing but lose games all the time, and he loses on and off the field. You look at how he also threw a drink at that Jacksonville fan last year. That was absolutely embarrassing. That should have been grounds for termination of ownership, but obviously the NFL wasn't going to do that because they got to protect their owners. The Carolina Panthers have to now suffer from a fan base perspective. I want to read you guys this tweet from what Luke Combs had to say about the Panthers on Monday. So he says on Twitter that, quote, "At Panthers, what are we doing? No first round pick for McCaffrey a few years back and now none for Burns? Are we just firebombing the whole team here or what? I usually don't comment on these kinds of things, but it's just becoming slow torture at this point." And when Luke Combs said that on Twitter, I felt like he was speaking for Panthers Nation right there because of the fact that's how most Panthers fans feel right now. In fact, I'm going to take that statement back. Not most Panthers fans. I think every Panthers fan feels that way. I don't care if you're on the Democratic side. I don't care if you're on the Republican side. I don't care if you're male, you're female. I don't care if you're young or you're old. Anytime that anybody is talking about the Carolina Panthers, everybody trashes David Tepper. I've never seen a guy be hated so much in one city the way that David Tepper has been, with the exception of maybe Daniel Snyder. But even Daniel Snyder was able to get a winning season every once in a while. David Tepper has been here 6 years and his team has never won more than 7 games in 1 year, which by the way, he's only done that twice on the Carolina Panthers. This man has redefined the definition of losing. There's a reason why the Carolina Panthers have been the worst organization in the last 6 years. He's fired countless coaches. He's fired countless general managers. And it's not even just in football either. You look at his soccer management as well, because he also owns the Charlotte FC franchise. He's been firing coaches every year on that franchise as well. So obviously you look at the common denominator and it's pretty clear that David Tepper is a massive problem for the Carolina Panthers. This dude has been a cancer to the franchise and he ruined the keep pounding model. I remember when keep pounding used to mean that we would fight hard and we would be competitive every single year. Now keep pounding means keep sucking, because keep pounding is no longer really the main statement that you think of when you think about the Carolina Panthers. When you think about the Carolina Panthers, you constantly think about how the Carolina Panthers keep sucking and that they keep finding ways to lose games all the time. And I'm glad somebody like Luke Combs, a guy that has a big platform, was able to hold David Tepper accountable on Twitter. He also went on to the Pat McAfee Show on Wednesday. He had a lot to say about the matter. I'm going to show you guys this clip of when Pat McAfee interviewed Luke Combs on his show. He went off on David Tepper and the Panthers. Roll the film.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, his ability to get it done, I mean, it hadn't happened yet, for sure. He's obviously a shrewd businessman, but I'm a great musician, and I'm not a football coach. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. I'm great at doing music, but I ain't at the combine telling you who to draft. You know what I mean? It ain't happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can be good at one thing, don't mean you're good at something else. I mean, that's the way and I think as a fan, I think we all, throwing drinks on the fans in Jacksonville ain't a hot look, dude. You know what I mean? It ain't a good look. You know what I mean? And it's like He's probably trying to buy my house, right? He's probably going to try to buy my house, right? He could if he wanted. I would be glad to sell it to him. But, you know, I just think it's kind of like, it feels like we're the worst franchise in all of professional sports right now. It's really hard. It's really hard to deal with that. You know what I mean?
It's going to get better, Luke.
Yep. Keep going.
Hey.
It can't get any worse, dude. Can't get any worse.
Just wait.
Well, you know, this has been happening to you for your whole life.
Somebody said good.
Could get worse. There was only like 100 people at the last home game.
Wow, what a roast by Luke Combs on what he had to say about David Tepper. I agreed with almost everything Luke Combs had to say about the state of the Carolina Panthers. The only thing that I don't agree with Luke Combs is that they can't get any worse from here. I actually think the Carolina Panthers could get worse and that maybe they haven't hit rock bottom yet, but that's just me being pessimistic with the Carolina Panthers. You obviously think about how there seems to be nowhere to go but up after going 2-15 last season, but honestly, the Carolina Panthers could get even worse next year or some years moving forward because you never know. Maybe the Carolina Panthers only win one game in the future, or maybe they might even go winless. At this point, we are the new Cleveland Browns. You remember the Cleveland Browns? A lot of people grew up watching the 2000s and 2010s because that's what I think of when I watch the Carolina Panthers play. I kind of question why I even support the Carolina Panthers, and I'm a die-hard Panthers fan. There's not too many people that are going to be bigger fans of the Carolina Panthers than myself. I love the Carolina Panthers. I got Carolina Panthers blankets in my bedroom. I got pillow covers that represent the Carolina Panthers logo, and of course, I have the Cam Newton jersey, I have the DJ Moore jersey, I got Panthers hat on right now, and I got Panthers polo shirt, so I'm a Panthers fan big time. But obviously, you look at what the Carolina Panthers are doing in recent seasons, it is an absolute dumpster fire, and the fact that Luke Combs brought up, I'm not in a place to tell you who to draft at the combine. That is something that David Tepper should have realized early on because it was pretty obvious that the coaching staff wanted CJ Stroud with the #1 overall pick. I wanted CJ Stroud as well. I've known people in the Panthers organization, obviously they were all in on CJ Stroud, and they ended up taking Bryce Young with the #1 overall pick, which was a clown decision looking back. I know some people are going to say, oh, Bryce Young, he's in a bad situation. He's in a horrible organization. He's going to go ahead and figure it out. He still was the right pick. Man, shut up. You look at a guy that's 5'10". He can't really throw the deep ball whatsoever. He's got one of the worst arm strengths that I've ever seen at the NFL level, and he can run a little bit, but he's not that fast of a quarterback for somebody his size. He's the smallest quarterback that I've ever seen, and you also think about the fact how he can't really stretch the field whatsoever. There are some good things about Bryce Young that you can't work with, but he's not a guy you take #1 overall. Not in the draft class where you got CJ Stroud, a guy that I consider to be a superstar in the making. That guy is going to be really good for the Houston Texans. He literally is saving their franchise right on his back, while Bryce Young is stuck in a poverty franchise. But back to my point about what Luke Combs had to say ruining David Tepper, I find it interesting that he is speaking up about the Carolina Panthers now because of the fact that they have been stuck in the last 6 years, and I'm glad that somebody stepped up to the plate and called out the Panthers for what they were, particularly David Tepper, because that man has single-handedly ruined the Panthers franchise and how the Carolina Panthers have had horrible team building skills over the last several years. You look at how this team, they gave full power to Matt Rule. They gave him coach and GM titles basically, where he would be the final decision maker. That obviously goes disastrous. Then they hire Frank Reich, a quarterback guru that has worked historically well with taller quarterbacks as well as bigger quarterbacks, or at least guys that have big arms. That obviously didn't work out for the Carolina Panthers because they drafted a smaller quarterback, a quarterback that Frank Reich has not historically worked well with whatsoever. So you look at how the Carolina Panthers haven't really done a good job planning their future. David Tepper, aka David Trash, has done a horrible job managing the product on the football field. That's why they're selling games for 45 cents a ticket. During the Falcons-Panthers game last year, it was a division rivalry game. That's supposed to be the Panthers' biggest rivals in football, and they couldn't even get fans to come to that game. So if they can't even get fans to come into that type of game, what's going to happen when they are playing against a team that nobody really cares about a whole lot? They're not going to be able to sell tickets big time. I mean, at this point, you might as well call the Carolina Panthers a ghost town because of the fact that the Carolina Panthers have not really been an effective team in recent years. I don't expect this team to get better anytime soon. I understand that they're hiring Darren Morgan and Dave Canales as GM and head coach. I don't think it's going to solve an issue whatsoever because as long as David Tepper is the final decision maker, the Carolina Panthers are going to be a poverty franchise. I have no hope as a Panthers fan right now that we are going to get this situation resolved and that we can build a consistent winning team in future years. I'm glad that Luke Combs used the Pat McAfee Show to promote his takes on David Tepper and the Carolina Panthers. We need more celebrities and more musicians to put David Tepper on blast, and I find it funny that it was a musician that put David Tepper on blast because of the fact that David Tepper yells concerts whenever his team is getting roasted for being bad at the business department, and then he always shouts concerts, concerts, concerts. Look at how we've hosted so many events, and now I just find it ironic that Luke Combs is talking about the Carolina Panthers being a poverty franchise, and that guy is a country music singer. By the way, his music is absolutely fantastic. If you guys have a chance to listen to his music, I absolutely advise you to listen to it. It's really good. It's really useful for everybody. Everybody could go ahead, use that kind of music. So that is why I absolutely agree with Luke Combs' comments on David Tepper, as the Panthers have become a poverty franchise during the David Tepper era. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran and @Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.